Welcome to our Empathic Listening session. I'm Edwin Rutsch, Director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy, which is at cultureofempathy.com. And I'm inviting a wide variety of empathic listeners from different traditions to listen to me and about my struggle that I'm having with writer's block. And this is about giving an example for you, the viewer, of different listening styles. And I'll be inviting people from empathic listening traditions, from the therapy world, from nonviolent communication, from the focusing community, from role-playing and mediation community, as well as human-centered design, to come and listen to me about this one issue, about my writer's block. And that now the listener we have here is Mireille, who will now give a brief introduction about herself and about the process that she'll be using to listen with. So please introduce yourself, Mireille.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Mireille from Bremen. I'm a Dutch national and I live in Slovenia. My company is Empathic Pathway, which has accordingly the website, empathicpathway.com. I'm a coach. I use a lot of empathy in my coaching, and I'm besides also a trainer and a social artist. And my way of helping people is by empowering them with listening tools and with visualizations and learning about drawing. So today we'll just focus on the listening, and I'll be supporting you in a role play that we'll be doing, which was connected to a previous call that we've had, which was a pure empathy session. And in this one incident came up that happened, some event that happened in your life, which is still influencing your writer's block. And so we've together agreed upon doing a role play on this event. To which I'll be role-playing the friend, your writer's friend, who had been sort of guiding you in that event. Okay. And so that's basically what we're going to do.
Great.
All
so
right.
What do we do? What's next?
Yeah, what's next? So what I've understood is that I'm going to be your friend, this writer. And so I'm also going to speak now as this person to you, Edwin. Okay.
Okay, his name was Harold.
Harold, okay, so I'm Harold, thank you. Okay, so yeah, Edwin, could you tell me what is alive in you in relation to me about this situation that we've had at the time that I was supporting you with writing?
Okay, Harold, I always have seen you as a really good writer. It's like you just write all the time. You write these huge, long letters, and you had in college, you had written papers, and you were like a big writer. So I always looked at you as someone who's like a really good writer. And so that's why I asked you to help coach me in writing, because I sort of look up to you as a writer. And so I thought maybe, by having you sort of coach me on writing, that would help me with my own writing.
Yeah, so you've asked me to help you, to coach you with your own writing, because already from earlier time, you've been seeing my articles, my papers, everything I wrote, just kind of really impressed you with the level of quality. And so you've been seeing me as a writer that is capable of writing, and that would be on a higher level for you, that would be really a support for you.
And it's like when you write a letter, you don't like write, one page, a half a page letter. You write like 20 pages to a letter. I mean, it's just, the writing just kind of flows from you, and it's well organized and it's systematic, and so I'm really looking, because I'm struggling with the writing. I'm thinking, hey, maybe you can help help me with getting better at the writing and kind of overcome my own struggles with writing.
Yeah. So in my writing, it seemed to you that as I can really like write in a flow, that there is some structure and some organization in what I do, and still it comes through like it's like being read by you, like it came out through flow. And you experience more of a struggle in your writing. So
exactly.
It was kind of like you had hope that I was able to learn to teach you more of the way I do it, so that would help you to do it differently than you do.
Yeah. And then we sat down, we got together, and you were helping me with writing. I guess it was more of college. I was going to go to college, and it was a bit more, you're kind of giving me tips on, more college writing, kind of more structured, with introduction, and then building more of like a college type paper. And so we sat down. Remember the time we sat down for like an hour or something, and you were kind of working with me. And then I really struggle with laying out ideas. It's like, I like more kind of like free form, just kind of throwing ideas out. And I don't know, there's something about being systematic and organized that it's just really hard for me. So, we did this for like an hour or more. You were trying to help me, kind of lay out, I guess more like a college type paper. And then you finally just said, hey, it's hopeless. You just can't do it. So just that memory of you saying it's hopeless, basically, I still remember that.
Yeah. So in this hour that we worked together, you had this high hope that because of the way I approach my writing, or at least that's how it seems to you, that there would be structure and organization, and as it's like college paper kind of a style writing.
Yeah, more essay writing. I guess maybe we're looking at more essay type writing.
Yeah. But then when you write, you get more of like loads of ideas, and they are like not organized.
Right.
It's very creative, but it doesn't, like, it's difficult to find the connections and to make choices and create some structure out of it. And so
I don't even know if it's creative. I don't even think it's creative. Okay. All that creative either.
But at least there was a lot of variety in the ideas, and it was lacking the structure that you wanted to have, or that you would see in my work, that you thought that this was like the missing link for you to get easier on creating also like more pages, and to experience more flow in your writing, because it would follow a certain structure that you didn't have.
Yeah, something that just came to me is what I think it would have been helpful, instead of you trying to, teach me writing, is if you had been empathizing with me about what was going on. So I think that actually might have helped the whole process, because now you're kind of just empathizing with me, and I'm kind of exploring it, instead of me kind of looking up to you to say, how do I write? How do I do this? If you had just had more empathy for kind of what I was going through, I think that might have been actually more supportive.
Yeah, so then me being in that teacher role, sort of, because you were looking up to me, coming for advice and more of like teaching, it was lacking the acknowledgement for your experience that you had in this situation, to which then I even added up by saying like, you're hopeless, you're helpless, it's not gonna work for you. And that was totally disconnecting for you, whereas having had more empathy is what you're guessing now would have brought you closer to getting to the point of what the problem really was.
Yeah, if you would have just been there as an empathic presence for me to maybe be working and writing and talking about it, and I would have heard more of myself, kind of being reflected. I think that would have actually been much more supportive than kind of the way we did it.
Yeah. Yeah, so the support was not received by the teaching, but do you imagine that through empathy you would have gotten deeper, and you would have had a different experience that may not have led you to have like so painful memories about hearing my judgments of how, and criticisms on how hopeless you are as a writer, like you can't do it.
Yeah, it's so yeah, that it would have been a difference of, I feel kind of a constriction around kind of the way things happened. It was like I felt constricted, kind of more constricted, kind of more hopeless, instead of it sort of opening, kind of really finding out what is going on for me, what is maybe even my style. Maybe I need to connect more into what is my way of writing. I mean, if I write, what is it that, how do I approach this in a way that has integrity for me?
Yes. So if I had approached you more from an empathic place and curiosity for you, of like what's going on for you in this, and where do you really experience the struggle,
right?
And of having this word curiosity gets really stuck on me, like from that curiosity I would have asked more questions, and I would have more explored with you of where could that way of writing go. And so
because I'm very kind of stubborn about wanting to do things my way, and when other people tell me how to do something, it's like it has to come from inside of me. It has to kind of be kind of a flower that blooms from outside of me. And something else is coming up for me too, is if I kind of go to someone and say, show me how to do this, is I also have kind of resistance about really taking in what it is that they're saying, because I want it to come from within me, that whatever my style of writing is, I don't know what it is right now, it's just a mess, that it comes from me, authentically comes from me. And I think in the way that you and I worked, it's like you weren't like listening and just letting it unfold and kind of taking the time for it to unfold. What for me, within me.
Yeah. Not that I was like putting something into you and telling you what to do and how to do it. But to more follow you in your process of where you are, and sort of help you get out of you. What is in you that wants to be expressed through the words on the paper. So that it's your authentic voice speaking up, and not mine really totally directing you to what it should be saying, what it could be saying, and how, and in what way, and what order, and what structure.
And that's it. And so what I do notice is there's like an anxiety, there's kind of like a coldness and an anxiety that comes up to me about looking into myself in terms of writing. It's like, that's what I needed, was like some kind of acknowledgement that, hey, I'm feeling kind of this real anxiety, and that's kind of emerging, kind of a coldness, a constriction, and an anxiety around it.
Yeah, it seems to me like you were not being seen for what was going on for you, and it was much more about my teaching and about me sort of. Although there it came from your side to ask for help, I was really coming from a place of teaching you and showing you what to do, And
yeah, I don't want to give you all the responsibility because I put myself in that situation. So but I didn't know about empathic listening back then. It's like if I would have known about empathic listening, which I didn't know about, I just didn't have that methodology and even know how to talk about it at that time that we had that training, that session. So if I would have known then maybe that would have really helped. Maybe not. Maybe all this empathic listening doesn't help. I don't know. I think it does.
Yeah, it might have, but still, it remains that I wasn't seeing you for what was going on for you.
Yeah.
And it was really not serving you. That's what I'm understanding, that it was not helping you, and it was not helping you to hear like you're hopeless. It's not gonna work for you.
Yeah, because I just kind of took on. I kind of felt it was kind of hopeless, and you just reinforced the hopelessness of doing of the kind of the joy in writing, the effectiveness of writing. So yeah, it's amazing all these years. That must be 30 years ago, and I still remember this.
You still remember it. Yeah. And is there anything else you like to be heard about around this situation?
Yeah, it's I guess it's going forward. Like, okay, now that's the situation that's going forward. One thing that I did as an example, like Mireille did listening with me last time, and I've noticed that there was a shift in terms of the listening. Like there feels like the anxiety that I feel has a little bit more space around it. It has a little bit more warmth around it. And it feels like it's like, it feels like I'm not so alone kind of in this, with the anxiety around it. So I just noticed that seems very positive. I mean, I haven't like written an opus or something, something really great that I really feel good about, but it feels like a small baby step, and it felt like a positive, like kind of a positive direction.
Yeah. So this moment, or the session you did with Mireille was helping you to get a little bit easier with this anxiety that lives in you around the writing, and the stuckness that you experience, the struggle you experience while you write, still nowadays, 30 years after that hour of class that we had together. And so having had this experience with empathic listening now, so many years after our date, it seems to you that really does make a difference in the way you experience your stuckness in the writing and the block that you were speaking of.
Yeah, and going forward, what I would like to do would be great to do it again, to get together and do the empathic, to do the discussion about writing again, but to do it in a mutual empathic way. Actually, that would be very interesting to me, is that we talk about our experiences with writing, but we do it in with mutual empathy, to sort of like transform. This feels like a good step that we're talking now, but then to get together and actually dialogue about our mutual experiences with writing.
Yeah.
Because I think we're kind of getting into like a larger relational thing, like how you and I relate. That you are one of the most empathic people I know, and I think it's had a big influence on me. But then there's also some kind of blocks there too. So we're kind of like getting into what is the nature. I think there's a whole kind of an issue around what is the nature of, our personal relationship is kind of what's coming up now.
So me as your writer friend from that time,
Harold.
Harold, you can see now that there was also an issue actually of being a friend who would be like on an equal level, and then when we were like doing this writing session, we were not like sort of equal to each other. There was not a sense of mutuality. Is this what you're trying to say?
It's a little bit more going forward, like the next step would be for us to dialogue with each other using empathic listening, mutual empathic listening. So that would create, I didn't think of it, it's more mutual, but it is sort of a mutuality, right? That we can mutually listen and dialogue with each other, and that even our relationship would be more based on a mutual empathy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you see that as a possibility still now?
Yeah.
To start doing that and be present with each other about each other's writing experiences and find mutuality in the dialogue that we can have.
Yeah, and it's actually talking about our relationship in general, that our relationship could be a more mutually empathic relationship going forward. I think that would, I'm really, it's like, even though you're very super empathic and you always have been a big influence, on me in terms of empathy, we didn't have the words and the kind of the tools and the methodology, 30, 35 years ago. So I think this could really help our relationship in general too.
Yeah, so you could imagine that we could involve more of empathic listening into our relationship.
Yeah.
We can do that in our conversations on writing, but in our relationship in general, in our friendship, to bring in more empathy into the dialogue so that we can experience more mutuality and also like enrich in a way our relationship by the way we can support each other, not by giving advice, but by really following where the other person is and supporting from that place with empathy.
Yeah, it's enriching is a good word for it. Also deepening. It would be I think a deeper deeper friendship and relationship.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that I feel kind of
that would capture it. Okay, so well, I would like to express to you my mourning around what has happened 30 years ago. Are you open to hear it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm really experiencing like a sadness in me for this situation, that actually hearing that 30 years later, how it's still present in you and how it's been influencing your life. It's really, I feel sort of a cramp in my belly of sadness, and it's kind of heavy for me to experience this of hearing actually how all those years it has somehow been with you and influencing your writing and your emotions also. And as your friend, knowing now that this has influenced you that much, it hurts to hear that I had such an impact with my actions on you. And
But I don't want you to take all the responsibility. It's like I feel responsible too. I was I was one of the actors, and it's I'm not saying it's all your responsibility. It was just sort of part of the how we were relating. We did the best we could with what we, with the knowledge we had, and so.
Yeah, and as well as I hear that, I would say I'm really touched hearing how that one event of 1 hour, has influenced you, and it really struck me when you shared now that when you brought up the mutuality and having had possibly more empathy, that maybe would have worked, me hearing that and knowing, yes, 30 years ago we didn't really know about this. However, this resonated a lot with me, that in that moment there wasn't a lot of mutuality between us. And although, yes, you had asked me for the support, I would have loved to have given you support that was actually helpful. That was, that would have helped you in that moment, and that it has like touched you in a way that is still present in you 30 years later. Saddens me that this happened, and it really doesn't meet my need for supporting you, and for also for some I'm touching like a lot of compassion at the moment, that just knowing that this has been living in you all that time and we never really spoke about it.
So what I'm hearing there is
I'm sad. I'm sad I couldn't have shown more compassion for that all this time. That's you've been carrying that all alone this time, and I would have liked to have been more supportive, and also like accompanying you like at that time of with your experience. But then also during these years, it's like we've been in that moment together, and so why would you hold this pain around that for 30 years on your own? And I'm just sad that I haven't been able to stand by you, that sort of after effect, not having been able to be there for you again, which I would have liked to as your friend. That's I feel sad that I wasn't there for you around that.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, maybe I was just coming up, maybe I would reflect what I'm hearing, that you're feeling some sadness that you weren't able to support me sort of in a positive way, and that I was holding kind of this anxiety or this discomfort all this time, and just that you would have liked to have supported me more had offered support in a positive way for me to kind of, I guess, move forward. And
and that it wasn't like your experience alone, and it wasn't necessary. I could have been there. I could have listened to you earlier, and I could have. I could have made possibly also different choices about the way I would support you, and maybe had given it another chance to support you in a different way. And I'm sad that this companionship in that has been missing, for not not being in that together, and you holding that pain on your own, whereas I'm your friend. So it saddens me that I couldn't be with you in this, and it's also Yeah, I would have loved to have had more understanding of what had been going on for you at the time. Yeah, I remember I came a lot out of, you know, advising and showing you the way, and like really sort of you just covering you with how I thought that would be good for you, which didn't like acknowledge your uniqueness and your like authentic truth, and sort of honoring that, you know, but more of me forcing myself onto you with how I thought that would be right. And so I can see now that I wasn't really like seeing you and your problem around the writing.
Yeah, so what I'm really hearing is that that you are realizing that you didn't see me for where I was, and that there's you're seeing sort of your role in that.
Yeah.
That means a lot. Yeah, that actually just sort of that mutuality of, you know, you just wanting to see me where I really was. I mean, there's something about that really means a lot to me.
Yeah, it is important for me to express that from the intention of support, I gave you the support, and I'm just really sad hearing that the kind of support I was offering was really not meeting you with what you were needing. And that yeah, just that you carried this for so long with you it's bringing a lot of sadness in me. Sort of, again, you know, I wasn't seeing you, or I wasn't hearing you about your truth around this, and about what's going on in you. So
it's just feeling sadness about not having seen me for sort of my truth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, it's an issue. It's not like an overwhelming issue. It's sort of like, you know, what do we do now? How do we, you know, kind of move forward in an effective way? And like I was saying, I think we just didn't have like simple empathic listening tools. You know, if we just didn't know. I didn't know. You didn't know. And, you know, I think that's just, we have these tools now to, I think, move forward, you know, to, so I guess I feel hopeful. I mean, my hope is that, now we do have the hope, you know, we can listen to each other. We can, you know, have, go into deeper empathic connection. I think it'll just help the whole relationship. And, you know, just hearing your concern is just means a lot too. You know, it's just, I don't know, there's something there. I feel something about just, you know, hearing your concern. Somehow I feel it kind of going deeper. There's like it feels like it's going deeper into my being somehow.
Yeah. So is it like you sense a bit more of space in you to just embrace what has happened and be more hopeful about the possibilities we now have with our empathic listening skills, and with the way we can be present with each other, and having more understanding of how we can see each other and how we can contribute to each other, and that we can also really exchange about this.
Yeah, it's like I don't feel as detached, or sort of up more in this area, kind of detached. I feel it moving deeper into my body. It's a little scary in some ways, you know, to kind of have that it feels like a deeper, you know, more of a blacker, a lot of unknowns, a lot of scary kind of a space that's going into, but it feels more real in a sense. It feels more, it just feels more real. It doesn't feel like there's a real resolution, but it feels more real somehow. The relating feels more, deeper in terms of it's in my body,
Yeah.
deeper
Yeah.
in my body, kind of in this kind of area
Mm-hmm.
versus kind of more detached, seeing it from a distance.
Yeah. So it's kind of like more integrating inside of you, that there's also possibilities to relate in a new way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'm looking for some kind of a real breakthrough. I don't feel like there's a real, I don't know, it's like there's not a positive, it feels kind of a little scary, like a lot of unknowns, like what's next, it'll kind of anxiety around kind of what's next. And
Next about what? Our relationship?
Yeah, our relationship and the movement of the relationship, but it doesn't feel as detached.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels more real in that sense.
Yeah. 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 And would you be interested in hearing what led me to do what I did at the time?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. 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 I remember this moment that you came to me and asked, like, if I could help you to coach you a bit and to give you some direction in the writing, and that you said that you've been seeing what I've been doing, and that it seemed like I had a structure and I knew what I was doing, so this would be helpful for you. And I was really excited because I really enjoy writing, and I could also hear from the feedbacks I was getting from people that, well, it's kind of easy for me to do all of that, and I have this like clarity in my head when I write. I know exactly where I'm going and how I'm doing it, and it's something like sort of like this is like the most simple thing, and people can and will understand this, and they can I can give this to them. This is something that will work for more people. And so when you came, I had this opportunity to give that to you, and when you asked. And so I was really excited when we started this out, and I just gave it to you in the best way I knew how, and that's what I did. And I just thought that was really like the most helpful thing I could offer for you to work with.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like total truth and really valuable. So I was really welcoming your request to sort of pass it on,
Mm-hmm.
to show you the way. Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't work. What I'm hearing is that you had these skills and this way of being, and you were excited about, passing it on to me, and you had like, I guess you're feeling you're having positive intention, but I guess I'm just kind of joking here a little bit, but the methodology didn't work. So I think what I guess I would ask is, what if we go forward with this more of an empathic listening approach to dialogue about it? I guess that's a request. Is that something we could do together? Would you be willing to, get together for another empathy session to talk about writing? But will we do it in this more empathic listening way instead of like a so-called teaching, maybe more of a teaching way?
Yes, because that's what I've totally understood and seen through what you've been sharing, that it didn't work at the time at all.
Yeah.
And I would love to have a new opportunity to speak with you about what works, what doesn't work for me and for you, and to exchange about this, and to have more of understanding for each other, what's going on, and to really be able, to give from a different place, and not from my excitement about how it's working for me, that must also work for others, but to acknowledge this is for me, and respect totally that you might be, in a different place, and something else might work for you.
Yeah.
And I can still support you, maybe not with my ways of doing things, but by being present for you and listening to you and getting to the point what is important for you.
Yeah.
And maybe help you find ways that would work that are different from mine.
Yeah. I felt a deep breath. Like I kind of breathed a little bit deeper, a little bit more oxygen went into the lungs when you said that. So that felt,
I noticed,
yeah.
I noticed it lifted you up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I feel pretty good for this time. I think in terms of time, I know we have just half an hour. So
okay, so I would like to close the process by saying thank you to you, Edwin, to give me the chance to be Harold, to speak once again with you about how this situation was and how important it became for you in a way, and how it affected you, and that you've been open to share that with me, and to also give me a chance to mourn about my actions, and I can still sense inside that this is, it's still coming in and still settling how how important this was for you to look at, and how the moment has affected you. So I want to really express my gratitude for having this conversation with you about it.
okay.